Australia is a land of contrasts, famous for its cities and beaches, but its vast northern expanse tells a different story. Northern Australia stretches across Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and Queensland, a region rich in resources, yet strikingly empty. Despite trillions in mineral wealth and proximity to Asia, the north remains sparsely populated. Major Australian cities are more than just large populations. They're hubs of business, culture, and education, like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. These cities grew from early colonial settlements in the temperate, fertile south, where climate and resources favored European-style agriculture. Over time, the south became the nation's economic and cultural heart, drawing people and investment. The north, by contrast, never developed the same gravitational pull. Its resources are immense, iron ore, gas, and minerals, but its cities never boomed. Darwin, the largest northern city, is closer to Asia than any southern city, yet remains small. Logically, this region should be thriving, but it isn't. The reasons are complex, rooted in geography, climate, and history. The North's emptiness is a paradox at the heart of Australia's identity. Why hasn't the North followed the South's path to urban success? The answer lies in the land itself, its challenges, and its promise. To understand the North's future, we must first understand why it remains so empty. The story of Northern Australia is one of opportunity, but also of enduring obstacles. Most Australians live in a thin crescent along the southeast coast, from Adelaide to Brisbane. This pattern began with colonial settlements, drawn by temperate climate and fertile land. These cities became self-sustaining, attracting people, business, and investment in a cycle of growth. They built the nation's universities, hospitals, and cultural institutions, making them magnets for opportunity. The North, meanwhile, was seen as a frontier, good for quick fortunes, not for building a life. Geography played a key role. The Great Dividing Range and reliable rainfall made the South ideal for agriculture and urban growth. The Murray-Darling Basin provided vital water supporting large populations. In contrast, the North covers nearly half the continent, but houses only about 5% of its people. The Northern Territory is vast but sparsely populated. The North generates huge export wealth, yet its population remains tiny. The disconnect between economic output and population is stark. Wealth flows out, but people stay away. This is one of the defining features of modern Australia. Northern Australia is a land of extremes, arid interior and lush tropical coasts. The outback's red sands and rocky ranges are beautiful but harsh, with little water and searing heat. This desert core makes infrastructure expensive and large inland cities nearly impossible. Along the coast, heavy rains create vibrant landscapes and rich biodiversity. Cities like Darwin, Broome, and Cairns are rare oases in a wild land. But the coast brings its own challenges. Mangroves, floodplains, and poor soils make development difficult. Rivers flood in the wet season and shrink in the dry, complicating water management. The geography that supports unique ecosystems is often hostile to urban growth. The North's promise is locked behind formidable natural barriers. Its mineral wealth and strategic location are undeniable, but the land resists large-scale settlement. The region is both desert and rainforest, a place of scarcity and abundance. This dual nature explains why cities have struggled to grow. The dream of a populated North remains elusive. Geography shapes every possibility here. Northern Australia's climate is its greatest obstacle to urban growth. The region swings between a pleasant dry season and a brutal wet season of heat, humidity, and torrential rain. Air conditioning is essential, driving up energy costs. Monsoonal rains flood roads and cut off communities, making supply chains unreliable. Cyclones are a constant threat. Darwin was destroyed by Cyclone Tracy in 1974 and rebuilt to withstand future storms. Building infrastructure to survive these extremes is expensive. The climate dictates how cities are designed and when work can happen. The North's weather discourages long-term settlement and stable growth. While the South enjoys a mild, predictable climate, the North lurches from one extreme to another. The elements rule life here. This constant battle with nature shapes every aspect of northern development. The climate remains the true ruler of the North. Mining drives much of northern Australia's economy, creating towns that rise and fall with resource booms. Places like Karatha and Port Hedland exist to serve mines, not to build lasting communities. When resources run out or prices drop, these towns shrink or vanish. This boom and bust cycle prevents the growth of permanent, diverse cities. True cities thrive on economic diversity: manufacturing, services, education, and culture. Mining towns lack this complexity. They're work camps, not urban centers. They don't develop universities, major hospitals, or cultural institutions. The focus is on extracting wealth, not building society. Southern cities grew organically with strong social fabrics. The North's towns are often temporary hubs for resource extraction. This model brings wealth to the nation, but leaves the North with fragile, transient communities. The dream of stable, growing northern cities remains unfulfilled. Northern Australia faces the tyranny of distance. It's remote from the nation's economic heart in the south. Darwin is closer to Jakarta than Sydney, making transport expensive and slow. Everything from food to building materials must travel thousands of kilometers, raising costs. High logistics costs deter businesses and make local production difficult. Attracting skilled workers is a challenge. Many prefer the amenities and connections of southern cities. Isolation creates persistent skills, shortages, and limits social and cultural life. Small, remote communities struggle to attract families and professionals. The North's proximity to Asia is an advantage, but not enough to offset its remoteness from the rest of Australia. Economic and political power remains in the South. The North is often an afterthought in national decisions. Overcoming this distance through technology or new economic models is essential for growth. Until then, the North will struggle to build major cities. For over 150 years, governments and companies have tried to settle the North, but most attempts failed. British outposts like Fort Dundas and Port Essington were abandoned due to climate, disease, and isolation. These failures created a narrative that the North was uninhabitable for large-scale settlement. The idea that the North defeats grand ambitions became ingrained in Australia's psyche. Darwin is the exception, a city that survived war, cyclones, and hardship due to its strategic port and resilient people. Yet, Darwin remains small, not the metropolis some envisioned. Its history is a reminder of the region's challenges. Failed settlements show that a good harbor or location isn't enough. Success in the North requires a sustainable economic base, resilience to climate, and overcoming isolation. The lessons of the past caution against repeating old mistakes. The North's history is a story of resilience and of limits. Northern Australia is not empty. It's been home to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples for at least 65,000 years. Their cultures are deeply connected to the land, shaping and caring for it across millennia. Today, much of the North is legally recognized as Indigenous land, protected by landmark legislation. Development must respect these rights and the cultural significance of the land. Past projects often ignored Indigenous voices, causing dispossession and damage. Now, genuine partnership is essential for ethical, sustainable progress. Indigenous knowledge offers valuable insights for living sustainably in the North. Ambitious plans to develop the North have often fallen short, hampered by climate, distance, and high costs. There's growing recognition that old models, big resource projects, and industrial agriculture aren't enough. A new vision is emerging: sustainability, innovation, and partnership. The North's solar resources could power Australia and export clean energy to Asia. Critical minerals, sustainable agriculture, and Indigenous-led businesses offer new opportunities. The future lies in diverse, resilient economies and genuine partnership with First Nations peoples. The North may never rival Sydney or Melbourne in size, but it can lead in sustainability and innovation. Its future is a network of smaller, smarter communities, working with the land, not against it.